Hello and welcome back to Just Callum. Today we're going to be looking at a way of making blunt instruments for bushcraft like hammers, mauls and batons. So stay tuned and hopefully you'll learn something. Okay, so making the baton. What I did was I got one long bit of wood and I cut it of 4 arms length, and that's literally all that was in making a baton. What I'll do now is I'll show you what you'd normally use it for. Essentially, it would just be hammering in pegs. But as you can see, with baton, it does take some damage. So this is a great one-time use tool. You can use it usually for an entire time out surviving. But of course, this is only just one stick, so it's got no longevity to it. So, positives to the baton. Positives, yes, it is easy to make. Just cut a bit of hand circumference wood, also just enough, wide enough for you to hold it in your hand at one end and the other, just so you get a swing on. But of course, as I say, it does take damage easily. So, it's not a permanent fix for knocking in things like pegs and other things like that. Okay, so let's jump onto the maul. Now, a maul is one solid piece of wood with a handle notched out of it. We need to find the right size piece of wood and cut it down to the right size. Now, what I've done is I've sourced a bit of wood down here. So this is about 3 inches round, give or take, and I found it off the ground, but it wasn't connected to a tree, so it was dead wood. Now, it's nice and strong wood as well, which is what you want, because you don't want any soft wood, because that'll obviously get chewed up the more you use it. So, size-wise, what we're going to do, so take the width of your hand, and you're going to do 3 widths. So 1, 2, 3. And there is where I want to make my cut for my maul. So, let's get to it. Okay, so once you've cut that off, you might have a little nubbin. Just shear that off. Just like that. Just like that. So you've got a nice hand-sized piece of wood. Right, Callum, I'll throw that over to you to figure out what to do next. Thank you, Callum. Much appreciated. So, the maul. Now, you might be thinking, you've got is just a lump of wood. Well, you are correct, but there is a way we're going to do this. What I'm going to start off by doing is measuring a hand's width there and making a score mark just there, like that. Now I'm going to go around the whole circumference of this piece of wood, and I'm just going to cut in about 1/2 inch or so. So, once you've scored all the way around the inside of the wood like so, what you're going to do is you're going to get your favourite axe, put it on top like so. So what you're going to do is you're going to mark out, very roughly, 4 lines, going from one edge to the other, like so, minding your hands as you do. So you can now, very roughly, place your axe on there, and instead of swinging the axe around, just use your earlier made baton. Just tap it on the back, like so, and we'll work our way around that. There. And when you've got it to this sort of stage, that's when you can get your carving knife out and just start whittling it so it's smooth. If you get any knots, just knock them out. There we go. Away, just to curve your handle off like so. So you're going to whittle down until you get something like this. Now this is basically a reduced section of the log where I can hold my hand, and what you'll use this for, say you have a peg, this is hardwood as well, which is obviously for the best. It means when you hammer stuff in, almost no damage. So definitely worth looking at a maul and that's how you make one. It does take a long time. It does take quite a bit of whittling with a bushcraft knife, and obviously an axe and a saw to kind of do the outer edges and such, but it's not a bad little tool when you really consider it. Finally then, let's have a look at the mallet. Let's go. Now, you're going to need two things for a mallet. One, a stem to hold on to when you're hitting, and two, the actual head of the mallet. I'm going to cut another piece of this log off. So, I'm going to measure out again, same thing as I did last time. 3 hand widths. 1, 2, 3. That there is where I'm going to need to cut. So, rather than watch me toil in pain, I'm going to crack on with this and get this cut. So let's get on with it. So, there we go. Second branch off. That one took considerably longer, as of course the branch gets thicker as you go down it. But there's our main head for the handle. Let's jump and see what we do with this to make a mallet. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take our piece of wood that we've cut earlier, and you may already have one of these, you may not, but this is an auger. So essentially it's a hand drill bit. Now all you do is you find roughly the center, so right about there, just tap that in a little bit like that, and because I've got the spiral at the bottom there, it will slowly but surely work its way into the wood and drill through it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go down here and drill through it. So I'm just going to wedge that in there like that, and I'm going to start to rotate that there, and that's going to cut into the wood. Okay, so once you've done that and you've recovered from the immense strain using an auger takes on your body, you'll have this beautiful, nicely cut hole in the wood, just like so. All you want to do is get yourself a vaguely thick piece of hardwood, line it up and put it down through. Now obviously this is too big. What some might say is just chop that down with an axe, but there is a better way to dealing with this. What you do is you take your auger, and because not only does it cut that way, but it also cuts that way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to place that on top, just like so. And what you're going to do is you're going to cut down through that with your auger. So I'm going to take my little leather strap that goes around, little strap that goes around like that. Just tuck it around like so, and now it's a perfectly good handle. And what I'll do is I'll rest that on top, just like so. Take my maul, just tap down a bit, and you'll see that started to open up the wood to the right width. So let's carry on with that. What you can do is when you get to a point where you can't hit it anymore, I'm going to rotate it over, rest on the edge of my wood, like I'd do if I was cutting some kindling with a pen knife or a knife, folding knife, like I'd do if I was cutting some kindling with a knife. And I'm just going to tap on the top of that wood, just like so. And you see, it started to work its way down. So I'm going to carry on with that. Okay, so once you've got this point, you're going to want to take out your auger simply by resting it on the wood and just tapping it down. So once you've got those two free, you're going to want to cut the handle down to the width of your log. So just trim around those edges. What I'm going to do is use a maul to tap it down. Before you do that though, take your saw again and cut down the centre line of the wood, only about 1 inch or so. Once you've cut your inch notch into the wood, you're going to rest on top. Use your previously made maul again. Just going to tap it into the hole. What you will notice is I've made it so it's on an angle. You can do it vertically, but if you do it on an angle, when you swing down, the head will naturally land flat. Whereas if you have it on a 90-degree angle, it sometimes tends to, the attack angle of the hammer face hits on an angle and you'll do more damage to the hammer face. You'll notice I've got a notch sticking at the top here. All I'm going to do is take a bit of an off cut, wedge that in, and just tap that in as well with my maul. And then give that a tap down, make sure they're firmly in, and there you have your woodland mallet. So we looked at mallets, mauls, and unfortunately, as you'll see in this clip, battons. This didn't last very well. But if you've enjoyed this video, then please do like, do subscribe, and drop a comment in the description. I appreciate all these are very rudimentary, but they work. That's the main thing. So please do like, subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one.